welcome to Barbecue Elevated. Today we're going to be making some pork baby back ribs. Got about 5 racks of ribs we're going to make today. Got a bunch of people coming over. Going to get ready, get going with these. Going to do it real quick. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time showing the seasoning and stuff. Done that a lot before. Just going to talk more about the process and kind of what I do and how I get things going. First, we're just going to start real quick by getting these membranes off. That one came off pretty quick and easy. You know, one thing that I really like about back ribs is there's not a whole lot of work you got to do to them. Don't really ever have to trim them up or anything like that. Just kind of get the membranes off and then season them up and get them in the cooker. So I think what I'm going to do today is just kind of what I normally do. I don't usually like to experiment too much when I know I have people coming over. Because I don't want people to have to suffer through my experimentations. What I'm going to do is just put some kosher salt on the bottom side of the ribs so you get that nice savory flavoring on the bottom. And the top side is just going to be salt and pepper. It's going to be 2/3 part pepper and 1/3 part salt. And that's it. I personally like back ribs a lot just because I like the more meaty ribs, you know, the back ribs connect up into the loin. Because of that, you know, back ribs can be sold for more per pound than what loin can. So because of that, the butchers usually leave more meat on the back ribs than they will on the pork loin. So you get more meat, and for me, I like leaner meat, and back ribs are definitely more lean compared to spare ribs. So I think what I'm going to do is just kind of do my normal method of cooking them, where I'm going to do what, you know, the 3-3 method, I guess is what you call it. Just a 2-step process. It's what I always do. Just keep it simple, keep it easy. No reason to make things complicated. So what I'll do for the first 3 hours is just put them in there, the meat side up, just get them smoking, get them going that way. Then from there, what I'll do, and I'll keep them in there for about 3 hours like that. And then after that, what I'll do towards the end of that time is last 20 minutes, I'll sauce them. So I'll sauce the top side, get the top side all good. Let it sit there for about 10 minutes so it kind of glazes over. And then what I'll do after that is I will flip them over and sauce the bottom side. Let it sit for about 10 minutes so that one can glaze over. And then from there, I'll just go ahead and wrap them in foil, get them all sauced up in the foil, get them so that they're in really good shape, and make these the best possible ribs. Then now we'll just go ahead and season the top side of these with the salt and pepper mixture. Again, it's more heavy on the pepper because you're just trying to create that texture on top. So the bottom side is all just salt to get that savory flavoring on the bottom. And then I'm just using yellow mustard as a binder. That's what I always do. I just find with ribs, you don't want to go too heavy on the yellow mustard binder. Otherwise you can taste it. You can see it. You won't really taste it, but you'll be able to see it before they're done. And so when you go a little bit lighter, you can't really see it. Can't tell. Just enough just to keep the rub on the meat. So salt, pepper, 2/3 pepper, 1/3 salt. Don't go super heavy. Just kind of season them. Then I do put paprika in here also. Not for seasoning, but just because it gives it that nice orange color that everybody expects to see out of them. Paprika coloring only. So there they are. These are ready to go. I'm going to go ahead, get these out of the way, and then I'll get the next two seasoned up and ready to go. And then once the Franklin offset is up to temp, go ahead and throw them in there and get them cooking. It's been just over 2 hours since I put these in. Getting some nice coloring on them. Really wanted to watch this one up front here just because it's closest to the firebox. I want to make sure it doesn't get burned. So far it hasn't. So what I'm going to do now is just go ahead and spritz them real quick. Make sure we keep them nice and moist. Don't want any of them to dry out. And I'll probably hit the front of this just a little bit extra. And that's it. It's been almost 3 hours now. Gonna start saucing these and getting that sauce set up on them so that I can wrap them in time. Just gonna show you guys what I do real quick. I'll show on just on this front one right up here. So what I'll do is I'll just spritz it real quick with some cider vinegar. Then I'll take my sauce, and it's just use whatever sauce you want. I just have a homemade barbecue sauce that I use. Then that I dilute with apple cider vinegar just to make it so it's more runny, less tacky. Just the way that I like it. And then after I get it spread on, then I'll just use one of these, just kind of spread it around the entirety of the meat. Pretty simple. Then I'll just hit it one more time with some cider vinegar, and that's it. Once that's done, once I've done that, then I'll just close the lid, let it sit for about 10 minutes. So that it can kind of glaze and set up on the meat. Then after it's been 10 minutes, I'll flip it over, repeat the exact same process on the bottom side, let it sit for 10 minutes, then I'll pull them out and wrap them. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is just go ahead and get the foil ready for the ribs. The sauces are done setting up on them, so I'm going to start pulling them out. So just what I do is I spritz it real quick with some cider vinegar. Then I'll take the sauce that I'm going to use that I put on the ribs, just put some right there, just drizzle it. It's important to remember, like, this is going to be the last time that I see the ribs. Not my last chance to do anything with the ribs to try and make them as good as possible. So I always like to spray this down, make sure it's nice and moist. I don't want to dry the ribs out. So what I'll do, I'll just grab some of these barbecue gloves that I've got. Come over here. Pull the first little rack out. Just set them right there. So I'll set them in so that they're meat side down. And what I'll do is first, you always want to just kind of go through and knock off any of this hard stuff that builds up on them, maybe these crusties. It'll put holes in your foil, which is not something you want. So just knock this down as best you can. Just try to avoid puncturing your foil if you can. Then I'll just hit it real quick with some more cider vinegar. Sauce this side of it. And then when I put this back on the cooker, I'm going to put them back on just like this so that the meat side that we were cooking up when they were wrapped is now going to be cooked down instead. This helps get all that sauce to kind of melt into it and make sure we're cooking both sides. And we'll just take it. You want to make it so it's tight, but you don't want to go so tight that you rip your foil. Just wrap them up. That's it. Now that it's wrapped up, I'll throw it back in. It takes about 2.5 to 3 hours for them to finish from this point. What I'll do is I'll just go off with how they feel. I'll pick them up. When they start to bend around my hands, that's when they're done, and I'll take them out and let them rest. I'm going to go ahead and put this one on, then I'll just get the other ones wrapped up. I got 5 of them I'm doing. So now I'm going to go ahead and just kind of check the ribs and feel them and see which ones feel done. So the way I do it is I just pick them up. So I just kind of feel them, so you can see there, it's bending, like totally bending around my hand. Those ones I'm going to call done. These ones are also bending. So those ones are done. These ones are definitely bending, so just falling apart inside, I can feel it. These ones, not really bending at all, so these ones are not done. And these ones feel pretty stiff also, so we've got these 3 are all done, which I'm kind of expecting. These 2 are up front where it's hotter. This is in the hotter spot of my cooker as well. But again, this is also why I don't go off of just time or temperature, but I go off of feel. Every piece of meat's different, every pig's different, every cow's different, so they all cook differently, they're all going to finish differently. Just have to go off of when they feel done and when it feels right. And if you have to go off of time, like, go ahead and do that. But for me, it's all about just feel. And once you get that feel down, you'll love it and you'll never want to go back. Here's our first rack of ribs right here. Going to go ahead and start getting them sliced. So you can see here, it's just got a really nice coloring to them. Got that, that reddish color to them. Really juicy. feel like they're really soft. They're going to be really good. So I'll go ahead. I always like to slice them kind of upside down. Just makes it easier to see the bones. Sometimes I even stand them upright to slice them. So one thing that I like to really shoot for, and it all just kind of depends upon who you are and what your preferences are. There's no right or wrong as far as like how tender you want them. I know some people like them to be like fall off the bone, like you grab the bone and it just comes right out. For me, I don't like that as much. I like them to be where they're super tender and they're soft and they're good. And as soon as you bite into it, it comes off the bone. But that they actually stick to the bone while you're cutting them, and you can actually pick it up and have a rib, a whole rib, as opposed to just picking up a, basically a boneless rib, because the bone just kind of falls right out. But some people like it to where the bone just comes right out, and there's nothing wrong with that. For me, what I like, I just do it, cook it the way that I like it. To get it to where the bone just kind of comes right out, all you really need to do is just get it to where when you pick them up, they're just nice and soft and tender. And then just put them back in the smoker for about 15-20 minutes, and then pull them out, and they'll be nice and soft. That's really all there is to it. No big huge secret to it or anything like that. It's just a matter of getting them, it's just a matter of cooking them just a little bit longer is all. That's all that it takes. So I'm gonna just finish slicing these up, and then we're gonna do our taste test. You see here on the end here, these kind of got a little bit done, a little bit overdone in my opinion, but for some people, not overdone at all, because the bone's just pulling right out. Again, it's all just kind of a matter of preference and what you like. So there's that bone right there, totally comes out clean. Give a piece to my son to taste test. He's also the camera person. I'll taste test some. I think it tastes good. It's tender. It's juicy. What do you think? You like it?
It's very hot but good.
All right.
I like it when it has a lot of the outer bit.
Yeah. Oh yeah. These are really good. They're really juicy. You're going to be excited to share these with people coming over. So I'm just going to take some more.
Oh yeah, that's the good stuff.
Yep. It's going to taste great. Maybe throw a little bit of sauce on them if we want to. Super excited for these. Happy with how these turned out. If you guys have any comments or any questions, feel free again to always share your comments and your questions below. I'm always happy to respond. Anything you want to see, happy to do that. Anything you like to do that you want to share, happy to read what other people do also. But until next time, we're going to go ahead and enjoy these ribs now.